University.
At first glance, Aaron Glob seems like your typical college athlete. He certainly looks the part. Taking reps seems like an everyday task for a Division I long snapper, until you learn one major detail.
And I'm also legally blind.
Aaron has lived his entire life with no vision in his right eye and limited vision in the left. And his name may ring a bell for you because he garnered quite a bit of national attention back in 2014.
This morning, an unusual football player is training for the next level. Aaron Glob graduated last night from Newton South High School, that's outside of Boston. As Vanita Nair reports, Golub is legally blind, but he's still on his way to college ball.
I had a few different interviews. The biggest one was here on Good Morning America.
Stick Aaron, come on up, buddy. Well, looking at the video, you are perfect with your position with your staff. But what is it like to play football?
I've always loved the game since I grew up, and I've always wanted to be a part of it, and I just wanted to play.
Aaron made headlines across the country as he signed to play Division I football for Tulane University.
Out of high school, Tulane was the school that was able to give me an opportunity. And I was and am very thankful for that.
And it wouldn't take long for him to hit the spotlight again. On October 3rd, 2015, Aaron snapped for an extra point versus UCF, becoming the first legally blind student athlete to play in an NCAA football game. And since then, he's gotten to play in quite a few of them.
Last year I got to play against Southern, and this year so far I've played against Tulsa.
It's hard not to be.
Hi, my name is.
Awesome. Well, thank you for playing that video and for having me here. I'm excited to be here and chat with all of you briefly. Now, I want you all to take a second, and that video really talked about the challenge that I face, the adversities that I go through within my life, how I was able to play football. I want you all to think about what are the greatest challenges, the adversities, the obstacles that you all face in your daily lives. It might be something big, it might be something small. Think about what that might be. And for me, playing football, building businesses, whatever I'm doing now, isn't the hardest thing in my life. The hardest thing are those little things that you don't see. How do I cross the street without getting hit by a car? When I go to the airport tonight, how do I find my plane and not get on one going to Hawaii? Although that would be the worst thing in the world. But the point there is think about what are those challenges that you face? Really think about it. It's going to be different for each and every one of us. We all have them. And they're important. They make us unique. They make us who we are. But growing up, I struggled in a lot of different ways. Wasn't the best at school in the beginning. Wasn't very athletic. Picked last for every single sport that I tried. Couldn't find one that I was good at. And eventually found football in 7th grade and started playing. At the time, I wasn't good. My coach told me to get on the field and just hit the person in another color jersey, try and knock them over, and it'll be 10 on 10. Okay, cool. Knew I couldn't be a quarterback and a receiver, but I could try and knock over the person in front of me on the line. That was fine. But even doing that, it's not like I was touching the field a ton. It's not like I was playing a ton. I was there to be a part of the team. I was there to learn. I was there to grow. Sometimes we go through these areas in our lives where we're succeeding, and sometimes it's how do we support the other people around us. And that was that time within my life. I wasn't getting on the field, but I was doing what I could in practice on a daily basis to contribute to the team, to contribute to the people around me. Sophomore year of high school comes around. Still wasn't playing a ton. I was a third-string junior varsity athlete. A third-string junior varsity athlete. For those of you who don't know much about sports, if you are a third-string JV athlete, you're probably not making it very far in the world of athletics. And I took a step back. And I said, how can I put myself in the best position possible to play at a high level? Because I didn't just want to play in high school. I wanted to play as far as I could go. I wanted to play in college. I wanted to try and make the pros. I wanted to do whatever I could do. And there were a couple things there. First, I had to find a position that suited me. The same way I found the sport that suited me. I tried everything growing up. I tried hockey, I tried basketball, I tried lacrosse, I tried baseball. Wasn't going too well. Although when I was in Little League, I did hit a couple balls that happened to go and hit the pitcher in the certain areas, and that was lucky and great, but that was about as far as I got with baseball. But I had to find the position that was right for me. And I found long snapping. And for those of you that don't know what a long snapper does, I was a person on punts and field goals that would throw the ball between my legs and block the person in front of me. And I realized if I got really good at this unique niche position, I might have an opportunity to play, not only in high school, but at a really high level. Think about that for yourselves. Within your life, within your business, if you find that specific area that you're really good at, you can dominate in that area. For me, once I found that, it was about what can I do to set myself apart? What can I do to get to the next level? When you have a disadvantage, when you have a disability, you need to work 10, 20, 30 times harder than other people just to be as good as them. For me, it was how do I work harder and how do I work smarter? Each and every day, for the next 3 years of high school, I woke up at 5 a.m. every single day, went and practiced long time before school. Went to school, went to practice with the team, and lifted weights after that. Because I knew if I wanted to succeed, I had to put in the work, the time, the effort that no one else was willing to do. I had to go above and beyond. Because when you're willing to put in that extra effort, go that extra mile, people will eventually see. And it paid off. Senior year of high school, I was ranked as one of the top long snappers in the country, and one of the top overall players in the state of Massachusetts. But at the same time, thank you. At the same time, though, no one was giving me the attention I wanted. It wasn't like I was a top quarterback. I was a top long snapper. Not only was I a top long snapper, but I was legally blind. No college coach in the country was reaching out and knocking on my door trying to get me to come play for them. And so it was my first lesson in sales, my first lesson in business. If I wanted to get that opportunity, I had to, again, do what no one else was willing to do. Find a unique, creative way to accomplish my goal. So many times, we just do the same thing over and over again, and if it doesn't work, we give up, instead of trying to find a new creative way. So I found the list of every single college coach in the country, and I proceeded to cold email all of them until they told me to stop or didn't respond after the 10th email. I proceeded to cold call every single one of them until they told me to stop or didn't answer after the 10th, 11th, 12th cold call. I showed up in more football offices than I can count, waiting around for hours trying to sit down and meet with coaches. Most people told me to screw off. That was expected. Eventually, Tulane gave me that opportunity. Came in and said, we can have you. We want you to play. We'll give you a shot. And it was a perfect fit. In my sophomore year, I played for the first time. And in that moment, I became the first legally blind Division I athlete to play in a game. But for me, it wasn't all amazing. It wasn't great. We had gone 3-9 my freshman year and 3-9 my sophomore year. So at the end of my sophomore season, my coaching staff was fired. And I was put in this position of scarcity, of anxiety, of nervousness, of fear. Because I figured out that every single college coach in the country, and there's hundreds of them, this one coach gave me an opportunity, and now he's gone. What's going to happen? I thought about transferring. I thought about quitting football altogether. And when the new coach came in, I put off meeting with him as long as possible because I didn't know what to do. And the longer you put something off, the more you realize that that conversation or that action that you need to take is not very hard. What makes it harder is the anxiety that builds in that week or 2 weeks that you put between when something happens and when you need to do it. That's what makes it harder. And eventually I got that courage and I went and sat down with the coach. He was concerned, but he was willing to give me a shot. He was willing to work with me. He had never worked with someone like me with a disability like that. but he heard my story and he was willing to give me an opportunity if I was willing to put in the work and the time and the effort. And so we came to this agreement. This agreement that we would try spring ball and see what happened. And if we had to have this conversation again in 6 months, we would. And so each and every day that spring, yeah, I wanted to become a better football player. But my focus was, how do I become irreplaceable? How do I become the best teammate, the best leader, the best person on this team that I possibly can be? So even if I'm a third string long snapper going into next season, coach isn't getting rid of me. So each and every day in spring, on the field, in the weight room, in the classroom, outside of all of it, I push my teammates to be their best, to accomplish their goals, picking them up when they're down, being the best teammate, the best friend, the best leader I could possibly be. Because I understood that that's what would carry with me past football. Yeah, it'd be nice to make it to the next level, it'd be awesome to make it to the NFL, but eventually football, sports ends for everyone at that level. And there's lessons I could take with me for life. Not only at the end of my sophomore season had we not had that conversation again, but 2 years later, we still hadn't. And in my senior season, my coach made me a team captain because of what I was able to do to change his heart, his mind, of not only himself, but by other coaches, my teammates, and show that each and every day it didn't matter if you were the best or the worst player on the team. What mattered was how you were willing to show up, how you were willing to be a teammate, be a leader, and push the right things in the right direction. But for me, that wasn't necessarily it. You know, we've talked about vision a bunch here, but to show you how it actually is, I'll give you an example. You know, when I look at my phone, for example, I'm holding it against my face like this. You know, this is how I, read a text message, go like this, or, if I'm walking down the street and there's a, pole on this side, I might run into it. And so the odds to play in college were slim. The odds to play in the NFL were even worse. But that was my goal. So, spring of my senior year, I flew out to San Diego and I was training with legendary kicker John Carney, with a bunch of other kickers, punters, long snappers, getting ready for my pro day. The first day I get there, I get dropped off at his facility. He goes, all right, let's get in my car, we're going to start driving and go to the beach. In my mind, I'm like, awesome, it's like March, 75 out, are we just like going to hang out on the beach today, like ease into this training? I was wrong. So we get to the beach, start walking down the set of stairs. So 50, 60 stairs high. Wooden, rickety, covered in rocks, cracks, sand everywhere. And John looks over to me and goes, Aaron, can you do this? John, can I do what? So we're going to be running up this set of stairs. In my mind, I'm like, this is my absolute worst nightmare. And we get to like step 10 and fall flat on my face and roll down to the sand. But out of my mouth I go, absolutely. Yeah, let me just watch the first couple people go and I'll go up right behind. So, first couple people sprint up, it's my turn. Sprint up as fast as I can, and by the fourth step, I trip on a rock and fall on my face. And so I come down. Gather myself together, and I sprint up as fast as I can, and by step 5, I trip on a crack and fall flat on my face. So I come down. I take a step back and I think about, why is everyone else getting to the top, seeing success and I'm not? What is going on here? And what I realize, what I have to understand, is that I have a different challenge, a different limitation, a different adversity than everyone else. Think about the adversity that I had you think of in the beginning. It might be big, it might be small. It might limit you from certain things or others. But you can adjust from it. And so I realized that I wasn't going to get to the top by sprinting the first way, because I was going to be tripping on different things that I didn't see. But I could take a step back and handle it differently. Most of us think that there's one path to success, but there's really millions. It's about what's right for you. So I started walking up and down the steps a couple of times, understanding my surroundings, knowing where I was. And then I started jogging, and I started running, and eventually I started sprinting. It might have taken me 7, 8 times to sprint up those steps, but I eventually got there. And if I just sprinted up from the beginning, I never would have. For me, thinking about that, getting ready for my pro day, getting ready to talk to NFL teams, and then eventually transitioning into business, the way I look at my vision is that it happened for me. So many of us have these limitations, have these adversities, get into this scenario like I just had and told you about with those steps and say, why is this happening to me? Why am I a victim? Why is this adversity, this challenge taking over my life? Instead of understanding that it happens for you for a reason. Being legally blind happened for me for a reason. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, truthfully. I'm so thankful and grateful that I was born legally blind. Because it turned me into the person I am today, turned me into the athlete I became. It helped build the businesses that I run today too, create the relationships that I have. When you have that adversity, when you have that challenge, when you have that limitation, if you can find even a sliver of gratitude within it, you can become happier, more successful, and accomplish anything that you want because your perspective shifts, your perspective changes. I understand that there's certain things I can never do. Can't drive a car. It's okay. I can do other things. I can be successful in the things that I do, the people I impact, and the endeavors I take on. Think about that within your own lives, with that adversity that you might have. How can you overcome it? How can you think of it differently? How can you think of it with a little bit of gratitude? So you can shift that perspective and accomplish your own goals. Again, I know we only have a short time here today for me speaking, but I'll be around, happy to answer any questions that all of you have throughout the rest of the day, and I want to thank you all for having me here to speak.